Greetings everyone, thank you for coming to my channel. In this video you'll be learning about coordinating conjunctions. But before I get started, I just wanted to thank you guys for all of your love and support. Thank you to everyone who's been watching my videos. Thank you to everyone who's been sharing my videos. And thank you to everyone who's been liking my videos. To you guys, it may just be a like or a share, but to me, it really means the world. And I'm just happy that I'm building a community and I have people that genuinely are supporting my content and learning from my content, and I really appreciate you guys, because that's my whole goal with this page, to not only build a community, but I really want to provide value. So I'm happy that I'm doing that. Also, don't be afraid to leave feedback. What can I improve on? What do you like about my videos? Are there any topics that you want me to cover? Feel free to let me know. Also, another thing I've been trying to do with my videos is simplify things. So instead of putting multiple topics into one video, I've been trying to put those topics in their own separate videos. For example, parts of speech. Instead of making a video about nouns and verbs and adjectives, I'll make one video about nouns, another video about adjectives, because there's multiple reasons why I do that, but I feel like if I put everything in one video, it could be overwhelming. And what if a person just wants to learn about nouns? Or what if a person just wants to learn about adjectives? So I want to give people that choice. Okay, now let's get to the video. So what are coordinating conjunctions? Coordinating conjunctions join words, phrases, or clauses. Fanboys is the acronym we use to remember our coordinating conjunctions. The F stands for, the A stands for and, the N stands for nor, the B stands for but, the O stands for or, the Y stands for yet, and the S stands for so. For is used to provide a reason. So our first example says, I cooked lasagna for dinner. So why did I cook the lasagna? Because it was for dinner. Our second example says, she wore a dress for the event. So why does she wear a dress? For the event. Our last example says, I want a new phone for my birthday. So why do I want a new phone? For my birthday. In other words, on my birthday, I want a gift, and the gift I want is a new phone. And connects ideas. So our first example says, I like blueberries and grapes. So the sentence, I like blueberries, is being connected with the word grapes. Our next sentence or example says, I just bought a phone and a laptop. So the sentence, I just bought a phone, is being connected with a laptop. Our last example says, they have a son and a daughter. So the sentence, they have a son, is being connected with a daughter, which would be considered a dependent clause because it's not a complete sentence. Also, in the second example, which says I just bought a phone and a laptop, so the part of the sentence that says a laptop would be considered a dependent clause because it's an incomplete sentence. I usually say a complete sentence or an incomplete sentence. A complete sentence is an independent clause, and an incomplete sentence is a dependent clause, but I try not to use the fancy jargon. Nor is the negative form of or. So our first example says, he can't hear, nor can he see. So he can't do either of these things, hear or see. Our next example says, I don't like dogs, nor do I like cats. So I don't like either of these options. And our last example says, I don't drink juice, nor do I drink soda. So I don't drink either of these options. So in other words, nor means neither of the options apply. But connects opposite ideas. So our first example says, I don't like lemons, but I like lemonade. Our second example says, you made a mistake, but you're still a good person. And our third and final example says, we aren't friends anymore, but I still care about you. So notice how in each example, there's an idea before the but and an idea after the but. And both of these ideas are opposite ideas. Or connects choices. So our first example says, for lunch we can have sandwiches or pizza. Our second example says, would you like Sprite or root beer with your meal? And our third and final example says, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher or a dentist. So just to backtrack, our first example is connecting the sentence, for lunch we can have sandwiches, with the word pizza. And we're doing that with or. In other words, or is connecting the sentence with the word. In our next example, would you like Sprite, is being connected with the dependent clause or incomplete sentence, root beer with your meal. And in our last example, the sentence, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher, is being connected to the incomplete sentence, a dentist. And all of these parts of these sentences are being connected with or. Yet also connects opposite ideas. So our first example says, I'm allergic to dogs, yet I still like petting them. So notice how I'm allergic to dogs and I still like petting them are two opposite ideas. Our next example says, you're banned from the mall, yet you still shop here. So notice how the first half of the sentence and the last half of the sentence are two opposite ideas. And our last example says, I told you to leave me alone, yet you're still bothering me. So notice how the first half of the sentence and the last half of the sentence are two opposite ideas, and they're being connected with yet. So shows cause and effect. So our first example says, I didn't study for my math test, so I failed. So the cause is me not studying for my math test, and the effect is I failed. Our next example says, you robbed a bank, so you got arrested. So the cause is you robbing the bank, and the effect is you getting arrested. And our last example says, my son was misbehaving, so I put him in timeout. So the cause is my son was misbehaving, and the effect is him being put in timeout. That concludes our video. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you found this video informative. If you did find this video informative, please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, or all of the above, and I'll see you next time.